And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today, it's important that we speak about freedom. And I'm going to speak about freedom in terms of semen retention because they are so closely linked, you have no idea. But first, I want to speak about light and truth. Light and truth is basically what we are all after. You see, what we truly want is joy and happiness. That is very closely related and closely linked with light and truth. The more truth we have, the more joy and happiness comes into our lives. Now, I'm not talking about anything religious in terms of that. I'm talking about the simple fact that there's opposition in all things. Think about it. In terms of light and truth, what's the opposite? Darkness and confusion. My definition for truth, I'll repeat it a million times because people really have a hard time fathoming what is truth. My definition for truth is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. Not what works temporarily, but that which works eternally. Principles. Once you understand that, then you can understand, okay, well, everyone wants that which works. Because if it works, then it makes me happy. It gives me joy. That's why we all want light and truth instead of darkness and confusion. This has everything to do with bondage and freedom. When we're in bondage, we're in darkness. We're in confusion. When we have freedom, we're allowed to move closer to light and truth. I mentioned we're allowed. Because if we're in bondage, something or someone is stopping us from moving towards that which works. Now let me give you an example of this. If I'm addicted to alcohol, and I am one of my friends, let's talk about my friend a little bit. I had a conversation with him yesterday. Yesterday was 17th of May, the National Day of Norway, and there's a lot of drinking involved. One of my friends, he basically told me that the happiest moments in his life was when he drank alcohol. Which is quite interesting to me because in general, he's a quite miserable fellow. His average moment in life is being alone, playing his computer games, and not being very social. And not really feeling, in my opinion, the same joy and happiness that I have on a continuous basis. It makes me very sad that he needs alcohol in order to get those spikes of happiness. Which basically means that when he doesn't have the spikes of happiness, he basically lives in darkness, confusion, and bondage. And is comfortable with it because it's uncomfortable to get out of it once it's a habit. But me, who haven't had any alcohol since I was 16 years old, I'm not bound by it. I don't need it in order to be happy and fulfilled. I don't need it in order to get what I want. I don't need it in order to... Do you understand? There's no need for me to have it. It doesn't bring me closer to light and truth at all. It's when I'm sober. It's when my mind is alert. It's when I understand what's going on that I can move closer to light and truth, which brings me automatically joy and happiness. What about coffee? Very interesting. I read in the US, 30% of people in the US have to, I don't know if they have to, but what do you think? They drink 6 to 7 cups per day. That's 30% of the people who drink coffee in America. Very interesting. Why do they need it so much? Because they think, well, obviously it helps them focus in the moment and it helps them to be on task and it helps them to wake up. But imagine if you could be alert, awake, fired up, focused, excited at all times in all places without coffee. What if at some moment, oh, there's no coffee, we ran out of coffee, or we need to go and buy it? Imagine how much money you could save if you just took out alcohol and coffee out of your life. You save money. Fantastic. That will increase your financial freedom. You're not dependent on it. You're not addicted to it. Fantastic. That'll give you freedom to be happy, to be focused, to be alert, to be without it. Even keel. Another thing is what has to do with addiction is that it makes you miserable. If you can't control yourself, once you're done with the spike, you feel depressed and miserable, which is the opposite of happiness and joy, which is what you wanted in the first place. Having the freedom to choose is what gives you joy and happiness. Being able to choose from a variety of options of what you could do right now that's going to promote your joy and happiness and promote your pursuit of light and truth is what makes you happy. Is what makes us happy. We're all humans. We're all the same. Even though we're somewhat different, we're exactly the same. Principles are principles no matter where in the world you are. You also got... Let's think about freedom in these two ways. First, you need personal freedom. Getting rid of addictions and allowing you to have freedom in your own life to choose what you want to do at all times and all places and to be happy all of the time. It's not something that's not possible. It truly is possible to have joy and happiness all of the time. But that requires that you're emotionally stable. Once we have personal freedom, we can move on to all the other freedoms that I'll discuss afterwards. But first of all, let's manage to get over the personal freedom thing. Do you have addictions in your life? I'm going to mention a top 10 list that was published. I don't know where from, but it was online. And I'll mention the first 7 or the first 6. And then 4 of them I've actually done in the past year. So, we all struggle with this. And it's okay. But imagine if you could manage to get rid of all 10 from your life, how much joy and happiness that would bring you and how much freedom you would have to move towards light and truth, that which works. These 10 are coffee, gambling, anger, meaning using aggression to solve problems. Doesn't work. Food. Now, that is one of the things that, very easy to be tempted towards it. Sugary things, processed things that kind of affects you emotionally. I've had that in the past year, okay? But less and less these days. Internet. Now that includes porn. That includes a lot of other things, but also social media. It's becoming more and more prevalent. Are you addicted to the likes of other people? Are you addicted to your phone all the time? I have to say that I am. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm quite addicted. And the reason why is because I want to be out there. I want to be on social media. I want to be on YouTube. I don't do any of the other social medias. YouTube is kind of my thing. I've been doing that for a whole year. And it promotes my joy and happiness because I'm focused on light and truth and that which works. Now, does it distract me? Yes, at times it does. Does it mean that I have to admit that in some ways it is an addiction? Yes, it is. Do I have to put it down at some point? Every single day, it's important that I discipline myself so that I actually can get on with my work and chase my own personal freedom and help others to get freedom. So, are you addicted to social media? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But make sure that if you are obsessed, for example, with YouTube, that you're focused on the channels that will lead you to more light and truth, more joy and happiness, and encourage you to be disciplined and focused. Like my channel, for example. And if you think that my channel does help, make sure you smash that like button because it does help. Another one is alcohol. Huge one. And, of course, drugs, smoking, and work. Let me talk about alcohol for a second. In Norway, I've already spoken a little bit about this, but 94.3% of men have tasted alcohol in the past year. To be part of the 5.7% of Norwegian men who have not touched alcohol in the past year, I feel kind of special. And if it makes me feel special about myself, increases my confidence, then allows me to move on to greater things because I'm doing things that other people are not willing to do so that I can get a result that no one else has in the future. When it comes to work, am I addicted to it? Absolutely. Absolutely. I love work. I'm a workaholic and I don't have any problems admitting it. The reason why is because I'm continuously working towards establishing my personal freedom. I'm continuously working on passive income. I'm continuously working on things that will make me free. So that when I am free, I have the choice and freedom to choose what I spend my time and money on. That's why I think it's okay temporarily to be addicted to work. But if you're a person who's addicted to work in a kind of labor that you will continuously do for the next 40 years that doesn't increase your personal freedom, that doesn't increase your passive income, that doesn't help your joy and happiness in general, or you think it promotes joy and happiness, you need to figure out some things there, because truly, family and other relationships with other people is what's going to give you joy and happiness. You might have that at your work, but if you're going to be a workaholic working from 9 to 9, I recommend that you become an entrepreneur immediately. Because if you're that good at it, of working hard, imagine the results that you could create if you actually started your own business. So that is one thing for the workaholics out there. And I completely congratulate you guys because not many people are workaholics. Seriously, we're talking about very few percent of the people, and they're the ones who are producing the establishment of society and in general. But they should become entrepreneurs, definitely. So, semen retention, how does it help? What I always mention on this channel is that it is the mother of all addictions. You want personal freedom, you want to manage to kind of conquer that list that I just mentioned, I would start with semen retention. Semen retention is how you get rid of the constant hyperdrive overproduction of sperm cells in your body that makes you horny, that makes you distracted, that makes you want to be with girls. And that is completely not needed. It is important for our joy and happiness in general. And it is part of light and truth to have sexual relationships with women, okay? But it should be in a long-term committed relationship, in my opinion. And I sincerely believe that if you practice semen retention, it will help you to get rid of all the other addictions on that list. Once you manage to get rid of all of those addictions, imagine the personal freedom that you'll have in your life. Man, what can you do with that personal freedom? You can chase light and truth more passionately. You can chase your financial freedom more passionately. You can have more joy and happiness in your life. You can do more good. Freedom allows you to do more good. And how do you increase the happiness that you have in your life? By making other people happy. If you make 1,000 people happy, what happens? You have 1,000 people who want to do good back to you. This is how the world works, guys. If you make 10,000 people happy, 100,000 people, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, 1 billion. Imagine making 1 billion people happier than they were before they met you and your brand and your product. Or you, just in general. They will give you back with everything that they've got. You know, according to the value that you produced for them. And that increases your freedom more to do more good. And then to do more good. That's how we establish, that's how we make the world a better place. And that's us moving closer and closer to light and truth and that which works. But it starts with semen retention, guys. Are there people in society today who have financial freedom without semen retention? Yes, of course. But we want to move beyond financial freedom. We want to move beyond our own small little selves and be able to create massive businesses, create massive joy and happiness, massive success. Think big. 10x, baby, 100x, 1000x, because you're actually able to create it. Once you start practicing semen retention, you'll have so much more motivation, so much more happiness, so much more freedom in your life that you've got capacity to achieve endless things. Now that is awesome if you think about it. Your potential literally is endless. We beat ourselves up continuously for not being disciplined and not doing what we're supposed to do and all that stuff. It's because you're not practicing semen retention, the mother of all addictions. Take care of it and see how your life will massively improve in the course of 90 days. Just get past those first 30 days, which are the hardest, and then move on to greater things. At the end here, I just want to put in some political agenda in here because I love politics as well. I had no relation to politics before, but I do. Some channels say that, don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion because you want to make sure that that you don't offend people and don't, so that they don't leave your channel and unsubscribe. I don't care. You've noticed in the past year, I haven't cared at all if people have come on board or deleted. Like I could have done a lot more things to promote my brand over the past year, but I've done it organically. I've done it straight from my gut, straight from my emotions, straight from my, what I wanted to share with the world. And this is what I want to share. Everyone wants freedom to some degree. And on the both extremes of the political spectrum, which is libertarians, you could say that they're extreme, but they're extreme in terms of being idealists. Like, we truly believe that the more freedom you give to the people, the faster they'll educate themselves, the faster they'll rely on themselves, and the faster we can grow in joy and happiness as a society. That's libertarianism, which is me. And then you've got on the opposite side, one time I was in Oslo Centrum, and I saw a board, the Communist Party, freedom, which is completely on the opposite political spectrum. But guess what? They want freedom too, except for the fact that they believe that if people don't have to work as hard, there's enough resources to go around. But they don't understand that, it doesn't work like that. But anyway, they also want freedom. Going back to light and truth. Light and truth, guys. That which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things is individual freedom, not bondage. Individual freedom to do what you want to do for your joy and happiness. And once people understand that it's about spreading joy and making other people happy, they'll be happy. It's such a simple concept, but so few people understand it. But I'm passionate about it. I love it. I love this channel. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting it. Make sure you like the video and comment down below. And I'll see you again tomorrow.